8 grand. Drive the entry-level £30,000 diesel, which incidentally 85% of buyers in the UK will go for, and you'll get an even rougher ride. But the most important thing for me is when you're in a road car, you've got to feel comfortable, you've got to enjoy the surroundings. Now let's not forget, this should be a grand drive. After all, it is a Grand Cherokee, and it just isn't special in here, like say a Volvo or a BMW or a Lexus would be. And they're comparable models. The seating position's wrong, I've sat too high, I can't adjust it low enough. My knee is bashing the side of the centre console so much that I've only been in this car for a day and I've got a sore knee. The steering wheel won't come out, it only adjusts for rake and not reach. This is a £30,000 motor car, it should have those toys. The dashboard is just the nastiest plastics in the world. The handbrake, I don't even want to go near it, it's that foul. It's just rubbish inside. It just does not get anywhere close. It's not even on the same page as the BMW. I just don't get it. I wasn't impressed by either the petrol or diesel we tried, and can't help thinking that Jeep have fallen foul of their heritage. By hanging on to some of the vestiges of a true off-roader, they've compromised. Anyone looking to buy a Grand Cherokee will want it to be okay off-road, but damn good on-road. And it's not.
The AC Cobra was an awesome race car, but it had a weakness at fast, flat-out circuits. The problem was a lack of aerodynamics. Enter 23-year-old engineer Peter Brock, who ripped off the Cobra body and slipped on a new svelte, curvy shell. Instantly, the car was 30 miles an hour faster, and it took victory from Ferrari at Le Mans. Only 6 originals were ever built, so of course now they're worth millions. But there is a cheaper alternative. If you've got £85,000 rammed in a biscuit barrel somewhere, you can buy one of these, a Superformance Le Mans Coupe. Essentially, it's a replica built by the same South African company who make the Noble M12. It's had a few crucial updates to help it compete against today's supercars, and who better to do the redesign than the coupe's original creator, Peter Brock. He's made it slightly bigger than the one he made over 40 years ago, but it's still utterly gorgeous. It now has an all-new modern-day chassis, complete with safety features like side impact protection. It certainly looks the part, but does the driving experience capture the essence of its ancestor? The early signs are good, very good. Okay, you do have to turn the key, press the clutch, deactivate the immobiliser and flick the switch, but finally, the 6.6-litre V8 erupts into life, and if that noise doesn't put a smile on your face and fire in your belly, you are watching the wrong show. For a mean muscle car, it is surprisingly tame at low speeds, and a manly physique is not needed to manhandle the steering wheel. You do need a bit of muscle to change gear. It's a really long, beefy throat, but that's a good thing because it makes you feel part of the car. Perhaps the biggest thing that you do notice, though, is its sheer size. It takes up almost all of its road allocation, and the bulbous bulges in the bonnet take up almost all of my forward visibility. But then I am tiny. The V8 produces 500 horsepower, and 60 comes up in just 3.9 seconds. That's quicker than any new Ferrari. The acceleration just goes on and on and on, basically until your nerve gives out. But there is one performance figure that hits you straight between the eyes, and that is its top speed. Now, bearing in mind that this car's shape was conceived more than 40 years ago, this Le Mans Coupe will do 207 miles an hour. Apparently, some nutter proved it on a public road in South Africa. Now, I think it's prudent to point out at this particular juncture fuel economy should be anything from 20 miles to the gallon to 8. Not that I really care. The chassis was developed by NASCAR specialists, so unlike many muscle cars, this one isn't just about straight-line performance. It can't quite match the feel of a Porsche or Ferrari when it comes to handling, but think how much cooler you'll look ragging around a bend in one of these. The best thing thing about the Superformance Coupe is that it will be a rare sight on British roads, with only 10 right-hand drive versions being imported each year. So if you want something highly individual, sensationally noisy and frighteningly fast, the Le Mans is the place to go.
Now for this week's shootout between two very similar hot hatches, Honda's Civic Type R versus Renault's Clio 182. The £16,000 Honda delivers 197 bhp from its high-revving VTEC engine, while the Renault Sport 182 is cheaper at $14,500 and has 18 less horsepower. But the Clio is lighter, making the power-to-weight ratios of these cars nearly identical. So which will be quickest? And just to make things more interesting, we'll be giving away the winner as this week's competition prize. Time for a hot lap in the Honda. The Type R saw some revisions at the end of last year, but to be honest, I can't feel any real difference. It's still superb. The chassis still offers a hint of oversteer on demand, and the steering, brakes and gearbox are the best I've ever come across in a hot hatch. It crosses the line in just 54.29 seconds. Time for the Clio. Even though this car is fitted with the optional cup suspension, it's just not quite as sharp as the Honda. Mind you, it's no slouch, being just 0.02 of a second behind at the radar complex. By the hairpin, the gap's grown fractionally. And less nimble through the final left-right. It loses out by 0.2 of the finish line. Surprisingly, both cars are quicker than Ford's more powerful Focus RS and even the old Porsche Boxster. And seeing as it was the Civic Type R that won the shootout, that's the car we'll be giving away as this week's competition prize. It remains one of my favourite cars, able to reach 146 miles an hour and get to 60 in just 6.5 seconds. It's worth more than £16,000, and to be with a chance of winning, all you've got to do is answer this simple question. What's a common way of referring to a sporty hatchback? Is it A, hot hatch, B, hot back, or C, hot shot? Call 090 15 339955 to enter, or text GEAR plus A, B or C to 81555. Lines close at midday on Monday the 16th of May. We'll remind you of those numbers at the end of the show. You can enter the competition via our website, 5.tv/5th gear, where you'll also find details of our download feature.
This is a high-speed crash test facility, and we're here to perform our most shocking crash test yet. We'll be investigating one of the hottest topics in car safety, the mismatch that happens when cars of different types collide. What car crash experts call the compatibility problem. The problem is that cars come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, which means that when they smash into each other, it's rarely a fair and equal fight. For a start, big cars tend to be stiffer than small cars and crush them in a car-to-car crash. Here's a BMW 5 Series crashing into a Saxo at just 40 miles an hour. Add a difference in height between the two cars and things get even nastier. That's because the fronts of cars aren't evenly strong. They tend to be very stiff around the chassis rails and to a lesser extent the engine block, and much softer everywhere else. And those stiff bits are at different heights on virtually every car on the road. So if you hit a car whose stiff bits are higher than yours, it'll tend to ride over your car, punching through the soft bodywork and making sure that you come off worse. The height of your car is so crucial that even some extra luggage or a full complement of passengers can mean the difference between life and death. Take these two identical Mondeos. The one on the left is loaded up and riding 2 inches lower than the one on the right. Detailed shots of the wreckage show the car that was higher has a relatively intact passenger area. But in the lower car, the footwells and dashboard have been forced back into the cabin, as the car was overridden. Just 2 inches difference in height, even with otherwise identical cars, would have proved catastrophic for the driver in the lower car. Some of the worst compatibility problems are when 4x4s run into small cars. Then there's a difference in size, stiffness and height. The 4x4 overrides the small car as well as crushing it. So what can be done about these compatibility problems? Well, from 2007, legislation is likely to require a test against a load cell wall to ensure all new car models have more evenly strong fronts. We're already seeing extra low-down structure on 4x4s like this Volvo, for example, so there's less chance of them overriding ordinary cars. We're also likely to see legislation to make the fronts of big cars softer and the passenger cells of small cars tougher. All this should help reduce compatibility problems. But so far, we've only considered head-on crashes. In the US, where 4x4s are around a third of the new car market, there's a growing worry over another type of horrifying accident, where a 4x4 hits an ordinary car side-on at a junction. What can be done about that? Well, here's a test done by America's Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, which uses a special rig to simulate the side impact from a 4x4 at 31 miles an hour. This is a Toyota Corolla without the optional curtain airbag. The dummy's head actually makes contact with the high bonnet of the 4x4. With an airbag, the direct hit at least is avoided. According to the Institute, curtain airbags cut deaths by 45% in side-on crashes. But can technology make a side impact survivable at higher speeds? That's what we've set up our test to investigate. The Shogun's going to be driving along this line from there at 60 miles an hour. The Civic's going to be tootling along at 30 miles an hour from that direction. At this point where I'm standing, the Shogun's going to slam into the side of the Civic. Just the sort of crash that could happen at any A-road junction. The Civic has been completely wrecked. Where the driver's side doors used to be, there's just a gaping hole. I inspected the remains with vehicle safety expert Roy Quinney.
Do you think there's any chance anyone would have survived in this?
It's highly unlikely. I mean, as you can see from the intrusion of this, this is the driver's door over here, and that's the handle release there. But as you can see through here, that's the leg of the dummy. But if you open this front door here, you'll probably see the remains of the leg of the driver still in the passenger area down here.
Did it actually come off?
It's detached, yes.
It's a massive compatibility problem. The soft side of the car collapses when the stiff front of the 4x4 hits it. The 4x4, on the other hand, scarcely crumples at all, driving almost clean through the car's bodywork. From overhead, you can just make out the off-roader's bonnet practically touching the far side of the car's passenger space.